Air since 1951. This is The Legend. 105.3, 95.3, WDXE.
Yes, indeed. That's us, WDXE. It is time for Keith Durham and the Keith Durham Hour. I started to make it the Keith and Kevin Hour.
There you go. That's cool.
Keith and Evan, brought to you by Heritage Automotive, and you've got a guest in here today.
Hey, we do have a guest today. I've got a special guest with me today, Mr. Chad Shannon. Hey, Chad.
Chad, good to see you, man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. We're going to get to know Chad a little bit today, and
Okay.
we also have a super special guest in here today.
What in the world?
Mike Myers has showed up today.
You need this.
Jeff, don't leave the room. Don't leave me alone.
Here's the thing. He doesn't talk, so the camera's not going to go to him.
He can wave and stuff like that, so we'll get his opinion on things. In fact, when we talk about some of these internet things, you have to think about folks like Mike Myers, especially if they're sending text to your kids or instant messages to your kids and stuff like that. So, okay, so yeah, there you go. Get a good pic.
I'm going to get a picture of him over there.
That is awesome. He told me he was going to dress up. We were going to dress up like Kiss, but I don't have the garb, and he does. You still look like him. Oh, he's got. It gets worse.
What do you mean it gets worse?
Oh my goodness, Kevin, you're a nut. He's a nutcase.
He is a nut.
So, yeah, don't leave me alone here
I
today,
like
Jeff.
Halloween. It's a fun time of the year.
It is.
I really love the Bubba teeth, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do.
That when they came out, everybody wanted Bubba teeth.
Oh, let me tell you. So, I've always got a story to go along with everything Bubba teeth wise. Okay, I got to tell you my Bubba teeth story.
Okay.
We're at Talladega, and it's probably all right. So it's not unusual. Okay,
Exactly.
it's pretty common. But here comes this dude walking. Our seats were in OV Hill South. This was before they put the towers on the OV Hill side. We sat in the OV Hill South, and it was a covered section. And so it was hot. And the only shade in the whole place was about a sliver of shade, about four feet wide, that you could just stand up in. And so we're standing there, and we're people watchers. We're watching people go by. At the time, there's probably a couple 100,000 people that go to Talladega every year. And so this dude walks by, and he's got these teeth in. I thought it was his teeth. I'm like, oh, my goodness. And then Stacy Thigpen was with us, and Stacy says, yeah, but you see his girlfriend's teeth? They're worse. And so, she had them in too. So
Are you sure they was fake?
Well, we wasn't sure.
Okay.
At the time, we wasn't sure. And, of course, Steve Odom's with us. You know what kind of card he is. Well, he just starts horse laughing. Well, the guy instantly stops and turns around and walks toward him. This guy's a pretty strong, buff-looking dude.
Yeah.
Even though his teeth are messed up. Yeah. And here we are at Talladega. A fight could break out at any minute.
That's right.
And so he walks up to Steve and says, hey, you laughing at my teeth? Steve said, no, sir. And he said, but if you are, you can buy them. And they were like two guys that made those
Yes.
things. And they were
that was them?
And they were that was them in person at Talladega
okay.
selling them.
The heck you
And
say.
let me tell you, we bought several pair, and we had a blast with those
Oh,
things.
my gosh.
So anyway, that's my Bubba Teeth story. Now, talk about Bubba Teeth. We got to go all the way to the opposite end here. We got Chad Shannon here with us today. And
See, he dressed
Hey,
up too.
you
He
thought
did
for,
dress up. He's
you
got his
thought for a
Sandlot
second,
uniform
Chad,
on.
you thought for a second he's going to be forgot about there, but you're not.
No, he's not.
Heck
I was
no.
loving
We'll
the
drag you
story.
right in the middle of
Yeah,
it.
you got to be drug in right in the middle. Now, Chad is, people as mayor, people ask me all the time, why don't we get a Waffle House or a
So you're saying
Chick-fil-A.
he's putting in a Waffle House?
no? But I'm saying is that you're asking the wrong people. When you ask the
Don't
mayor,
ask
you're
you.
asking the wrong guy. You got to
Yeah.
ask the folks in the community with the entrepreneurial spirit. All right, and Chad's one of those guys. And anyway, he has been involved in some entrepreneurial things here in Lawrenceburg, and we're going to talk about those things. And he also served for our country, and we're going to talk about those things. And we're just going to get to know Chad a little bit today. And we've got some, as promised, I've got a couple things. If time allows us, I'm going to expand on my job for Lanny Hurst in the ASMR market, and we might can use AI
Have
for
you
that.
talked about to Lanny about his?
I
new
have
job?
not. I'm just
Oh.
assuming Lanny's going to go along with it.
Well, all right.
Because there could be money
How
involved.
can,
I'm not
how
going to say
can
that
he
there
not
is.
go along with it?
I don't know, because we got to use his voice.
Exactly.
So he's got to go along with it. So anyway, Chad, we want to get to you first. And, I've known you for several years now. I want to say probably maybe almost 10 years maybe I've known you. Obviously, we're probably a generation apart. You're in your early 40s. I'm in my mid-50s. And so we're a generation apart. You're probably Kevin's. Kevin, how old are you? About 42?
Man, I like you more and more every day. No, I'm only a year behind you. How can you forget that? How you used to pick on me in school and stuff?
I did not. I was not a picker.
I was always a
I was not a
bully.
picker. You was a bully.
You was.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. You got bullied by me. You had a.
I was a
You were
timid,
way down the list.
and shy person in school.
Yeah,
believe
I
it or
don't
not.
believe that. I don't believe that. But we want to get to know Chad a little bit today. Chad, were you born in Lawrence County, and whereabouts, and what was your upbringing here?
Yeah, so we're from Deerfield. I was born at Scott Hospital before it changed.
Really? I was too.
Back in '83. So what year did Scott change? Do y'all know?
Oh, hang on a minute. You said Scott. I wasn't
Scott.
born in Scott. I was born at the old hospital.
You were born at the
Yeah.
old hospital.
Old
On
There was a
on up the road.
There was a TP back then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was exactly.
Something like that.
They gave birth in a creek or something like that. I'm not sure. Oh, me. I'm sorry, Chad. We'll do this all day long. We'll cut in and out. So
You just had to jump in there, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Say, stop. I'm talking about myself here.
No, I like it. It's fine.
So
It's kind of uncomfortable to talk about yourself.
it is, but we'll poke fun at you.
Yeah,
If that's okay.
So we do it all the time.
Yeah.
Every Thursday.
But we grew up in Deerfield. We're from Piney area, like right across from Self's Market was my grandpa's farm. And then my dad married my mom, and she lived down the road probably a mile. So
Yeah.
kind of all from that region. And getting in the military, you realize how rare that is, because a lot of people had a split decision on, do we go home for Thanksgiving or Christmas, because their family split. One's in Texas, one's in
Exactly.
another spot. So we've been blessed that all of our family's here, and I married Robin. Robin's family lives here, and so it makes it easy for Thanksgiving home.
So hang on. We just went through like 30 years of his life in about
Boom, just-
2 seconds. We got to slow down a little bit. So you mentioned Robin. Talk about how you guys met. I mean, how'd you guys meet? You told me yesterday, I believe she's from Memphis.
Well, her family's from Memphis, and they moved here. Buddy worked at the post office for several years, retired there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, his name's Buddy Cryer, and Robin and I met through a friend.
Okay.
He was dating her best friend, and we met in Lawrenceburg and hit it off really good. Ended up getting married, and then we went off to the military. So we was gone for probably a decade.
So you said we. So she'd moved with you. She wasn't in the military.
Well, she kind of was.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you're married, yeah, absolutely.
They're definitely the unsung heroes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Everyone tell us, thank you for your service, but a lot of times, the spouses are the unsung heroes that are there behind the scenes keeping everything together.
So at what age did you join? You joined the Marines, right?
So I played a year of college football. I was playing football, and 9/11 happened when I was a senior. Me and you've had this conversation because you was actually up in D.C. when that
Yeah.
happened.
No. I wouldn't. No, not during.
wasn't at the
No. I was home way before that. I moved home in '98.
But you sat kind of in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
area.
yeah.
But we've talked about this as
Yeah.
far as the 9/11 and what it meant to both of us. And for me, I was a senior in high school, and I was in Miss Watson's keyboarding class. I think if you ask any of us around 40 years old, that we'll tell you exactly where we were,
Yeah.
exactly what happened when that went down. And I told my dad, I went home and I said, I'm not going to play college football. I'm joining the Marine Corps. And he said, well, look, let's wait and see what happens. You can always go back and do that, but, your shot's right now to play football. And it was great advice. I went off and I played for a year. And 2003 of August, Bush announced that we were going to war. And I finished up the semester. January 2004, I actually joined the Marine Corps. And the rest, I guess, I stayed there 10 years. I ended up getting commissioned. I started out enlisted and became an officer, and later got out as a captain. So.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Man, yeah.
So that's and we'll get a little bit deeper into that in a minute if it's okay with you. We'll do that. But to talk about the 9/11 thing, I used to work at the Pentagon, and when the Pentagon got hit, the office that I used to be in at the Pentagon was one of the rooms that got hit. So if I'd have been there, it would have been over, because the if you know how the Pentagon's laid out, it's in rings. The center ring is an A ring, and you got B, C, D, and E. And it went all the way to the B ring. And so my office was 3D 454, which was third floor, D ring, fourth quarter, room 54. And so it was right in the path of that jet. And but I wasn't there. And it had been a while since I'd been there. Probably all the folks I knew that were there have probably moved on. It was a support office, so it was transient a lot. And
but
so,
you're connected to it, and I mean, when you are, it gives a new understanding and feeling of, you've been there and you know what the offices look like, and it gives you some more empathy, I believe.
It does. Let me tell you, and it just my heart sank. When the second plane hit, I said, "This is no accident."
Yeah.
And then when the Pentagon got hit, I mean, it was just clear as a bell that because
There's something going on.
Yeah, there's something going on.
Well, this shaped our whole generation. I mean, I know people who are nurses because of it, firefighters, cops. I mean, it's not just military, but it shaped a lot of people and changed a lot of people's career path.
You're exactly right. So most people that 50 years of age or younger will say that the most defining event in their life was 9/11, and 50 years and older is typically JFK. Mm-hmm. So there's some huge events that happens that in our lifetime that shape the way. And look, 9/11 has changed almost everything we do as a society. And because I don't know if you flew a lot before 9/11, but it's totally different animal altogether after 9/11. And it's not. I mean, they have streamlined the process, but it's still. I mean, you wouldn't believe how relaxed it was. We used to carry bags of tools on the plane, and we'd have saws and hammers and screwdrivers and whatever's in a tool bag, But you can't do those things anymore. And so, anyway, in 2004, now this is. I'm telling you, that gives me chill bumps to think that we have folks that have the gumption and say, I'm going to serve my country, especially in a time when there's a heightened awareness and war and all those kinds of things. So number one, man, what a great for me, when I see that in you, I thought, wow, what a great person. What somebody would do that for our country, and not for our country. I think about for me. I don't take my freedom lightly whatsoever. I know that it takes sacrifice, and I think that's what upsets me a lot, is that a lot of people don't really understand what it is like to be free. What they need to do is go visit another country and see where freedom is not like it is in the United States, and then you'll understand that it takes a lot to maintain that. And thank you for that. And I know a lot of people probably say thank you for your service and stuff. I won't go way beyond that. Thank you for your character. It takes a character of a person, first off, to answer the call to go fight for your country, but also number one, to be a Marine. It's a little bit set apart, and we talked last week about this. If I had to live my life over again, I would try to be a Marine. I don't know that I could make it, but I would definitely try. They would have to drag me out. is what they'd have to do. But talk about the Marines. Maybe some young guy out there listening, and talk about the Marines. What we see on TV, you think, man, I would never go through that. Well, all we see is the Hell Week and all these kind of things. But it's more than that, right?
Well, the grand scheme of things, boot camp is probably about the tip of your pinky nail, and just on your service.
Right.
You got 4 years. I did 10. Some people do 30.
Right.
You've got Rick Bradley in this community. He done 30 in the Marine Corps, and several other who've served a long time. But boot camp is 92 days, and that's it. Once you're done, it's your rite of passage. You earn your Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. See, we're the top. Our branch of service is you don't go into the delayed entry program in the Marine Corps and automatically be a Marine. We've had people get Marine tattoos before they went to boot camp, and the drill instructors gave them a really hard time. Like in the Army and Air Force and all those, you dep in, they give you a T-shirt that you're actually in there now.
Yeah.
Marine Corps, you got to earn your title. That's what I love about it. That's kind of one of the things that kind of separates it.
Okay, so I wanted to bring that up, and that was I got to visit Parris Island several years back when a friend of mine graduated the Marine Corps. I sort of told that story last week, but I didn't know this, is that you're not a Marine until you finish the course, until you finish
until they hand you an Eagle, Globe, and Anchor.
That's exactly right.
Crucible. Now the Crucible is.
It's not Hell Week. It's the Crucible for you guys.
Some Marine's going to text me and say it's 74 hours, not 72, or however long. But you only get 2 MREs. It's 3 days worth of evolution, and you're out there, you're walking constantly. Like you said, the guide that was 7 foot tall almost, they killed him first every time.
Yeah.
So it's a makeshift war scenario. So if you had a big boy in your platoon, they kill him and you have to drag him the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And you have to carry him with, we had, like a medevac, you have your
little stretcher or gurney or whatever it is.
Stuff like that. And you have to carry them over the obstacles. Like when you get to the obstacles.
Oh, you can't just drag them on the ground.
No, you have to take them over the obstacles. It's actually funny. If I caught myself laughing a few times in boot camp, and you'll get in trouble, man. You got to learn to kind of lock that up. But
really,
the drill instructors are funny, man.
Gomer would have never made it.
No. They're hilarious, but they take you from day one. And when I was an officer, I became a captain. I was on recruiting duty, and we did a thing called Educators Workshop. And as XO, I would fly out there with these teachers and these mayors, and I don't know. I wish I would have gave you the opportunity to go back then.
Yeah.
We take people in the community and we show them, like, hey, teacher, this was your student. As a senior, he was acting like a clown, and now they're one hill when they hit the ground. We're in such sync when we march. All you hear is one hill.
That's exactly right.
And it's beautiful to watch. And,
yeah.
They're thinking, wow, I've talked to them, and the teachers are like, wow, this kid couldn't sit still in class, and now y'all got him straight up, standing like this. We're all a team. I wish I would have known when I played quarterback what leadership was and what teamwork was, and not, there's zero individualism in the Marine Corps. You can't be an individual.
Right.
We cut our hair the same. We wear everything the same, and we're very particular about our uniform. We don't put our hands in our pockets, and I mean, it's just there's a lot of tradition that goes behind it.
And you have to learn that tradition too. You can't. It's so that was a news that was revealed to me too while I was down there. Is that part of becoming a Marine is you got to memorize that stuff. You got to learn who the Marines were and how they were formed, and they give you these prominent figures who were Marines, and you've got to know these things, don't you?
Well, when you leave, you get 30 hours of elective courses for college. Some's history, some's electives.
Wow.
But yeah, we do history. I mean, that's the main thing. Now, when I was at officer candidate school, it's a little bit different. I remember getting to officer candidate school. We finished, and we started with 376 candidates, and we finished with 198. And I remember when Colonel Chase got up and talked to us, he said, gentlemen, he said, today is your day. I want you to go home, celebrate however you celebrate. But tomorrow, when each of you individuals wake up in the morning, life is no longer about you. It's about the Marines you're leading.
Wow.
And that stuck with me. And it's one of those things that, you have a platoon when you get out. You got a platoon of 30 Marines. And I always heard like our generation was bad. Our generation's this. But my perspective, I served 10 years in a leadership role with the Marine Corps that I saw some of the best Americans I've ever seen in my life.
I would agree with that 100%. That sometimes, as even and it's more from the older generation looking back. That I look back on these, and Jeff and Kevin. I don't know if you guys do the same thing, but sometimes I look back and I think, man, there's no hope for these kids. The generation is lost. But then there's things that change your mind in an instant about that, and you're exactly right about that. And I'll tell you, one of the things that does that for me is each year we have the privilege, and we did this yesterday, we had the privilege of giving out scriptures to fifth graders. And so there's 95 counties in Tennessee, and only 5 counties allow the Gideons to give scriptures out. And Lawrence County is one of those counties.
I didn't know.
Okay.
And so, but to see, and you think, wow, but I'm telling you, those kids give you so much hope because they're so polite and they're so receptive, and they're thank you and yes sir and these things, and I'm telling you, it really renews your hope in that generation.
I think they really got to go to college to kind of mess all that up, to be honest.
I think these days you're exactly right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. So I'm glad I didn't go.
I would have never made it.
Well, I wouldn't make it these days. I don't know what college would be like for me these days. It would probably.
What you're saying about Lawrence County is 100% true. I always wanted to get back.
Yeah.
I wanted to get back here because our community, if you watch someone get sick with cancer or someone get down or have a car wreck, like we pull together better than any place. I've lived 14, 15 different places, and I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I think Abigail's plan is a good example of that too. The community came together really super quick and raised a lot of money to make that take place. Go ahead, Kevin. What were you going to say?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's true about anything. I mean, like when the tornadoes come through, I mean, so many people gathered around, helped everybody out. gave money. I mean, it's rare. I mean, you don't see it in a lot of other places.
No, you're right. You're right. But also, well, I've lost my train of thought. But
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No, you're good about that. So
I'm messing you up.
No, you're not at all. But
You don't even have your mask on. Huh?
no,
I get a little warm in there.
Are you? Do you just? We'll break sequence here a minute. Do you still trick or treat?
Do I trick or treat? I hand out candy, but I have I've got some teenage age nieces and nephews, and I have been known to go hide in the cornfield and scare them and stuff.
So Halloween.
And I like haunted houses.
Oh, do you?
Oh man, you want to go to one?
No, I'm too scared of them.
What?
I don't even watch scary movies. What about you, Jeff?
Man, I wish I'd known that. I'm gonna leave a few minutes early. I gotta go get somebody's truck and jump out at them.
I love getting to see somebody get scared.
Oh yeah.
I love watching people get scared.
I love scaring people.
Yeah.
So
Love that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys remember Jeff Blade, but Jeff was a dear friend of mine and best friends growing up, and he's passed away now. And but he was a big dude. Jeff was probably 6'5", 6'6", and 320, 340. Right,
Yeah.
he always hovered around there. Just a big dude. But my mom and dad, they love Jeff better than they love me.
Well, I can see
guess.
that.
Yeah, you know how it is. But my dad would always cook on Halloween, and it was always whatever Jeff wanted. Right, so Jeff would say, "Hey, I want barbecue ribs," and that's what my dad would do. He'd make barbecue ribs.
Yeah.
Well, my mom lives out in Richardson Acres, and that's one of those places where they pretty much block off the street, and there's just hundreds of trick or treaters.
Oh yeah.
And so, so they got all this candy, and so Jeff dresses up like a gorilla. And he's got a gorilla suit. And, when he comes to the door, he's not a kid. I mean, this guy is a monster.
Yeah.
And my mom comes out there with the dish, and Jeff just grabs the dish and dumps it in his bag. And it scared my mom. She goes, "Hey, just let him have it. Just let him have it."
Give a gorilla whatever he wants.
Yeah, he can be whatever he wants to be. But then he started laughing, and,
Gave himself away.
Yeah, gave himself away because he was there for the ribs, or whatever they were cooking that year. So, but it was Halloween is a big deal. Was a big deal at their house because just because the children involved. It was they had a lot of kids come by the house. So.
Oh yeah,
Anyway.
Did over here.
One of the most fun we had, we dressed up. Teresa and I did. This was way back early in our marriage, and we dressed up. She dressed up in a suit, like a man's suit, and stuffed herself up with a pillow set in the other, and she dressed up as Otis J. Nippers.
Oh, really? You remember Silence of the Lambs? He was dressed. He's going to dress himself up in a human suit too.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
does she have anybody in the basement?
My favorite is when they'll sit on the porch and they'll dress up kind of like you are and sit still
yes.
with the candy in their
Oh,
lap.
yeah.
And when someone reaches, they grab it.
I'm telling you,
God.
that scares me to death.
We used to do that, and then I seen some of the videos where people get punched.
Oh
You
yeah.
scared
Oh,
so
I'm
bad,
sure.
and they get punched. I was like, I don't know if I want to do that anymore.
If you can take one though, it'd be
Well,
funny.
yeah, it'd be great. Maybe wear like a football helmet or something.
And get a lot of clicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about today is getting clicks.
Well.
So that's what you got to do. Do it, Kevin. I'm all for it.
I'll be at your house then.
So nobody comes to my house.
What?
I have my light on and everything, but we're off the beaten path, and everybody's on Douglas Drive, but they won't. I don't know.
I'll fix that this year.
Thank you. Hey, my neighbors have a cauldron out in the yard.
Don't listen to him. I've been to his house 2 or 3 times. They don't even come to the door.
Have you for real?
Yes, I have. We beat on the door.
The door's open. Just come in. You don't have to beat on the door.
Well, now that I know that, hey, everybody, his door's open. Just walk on in.
So
Put your mask on. Go find Keith.
yeah, exactly. No, but the McMahons have a cauldron out in the front yard, and they're cooking hot chocolate. And it's a real, looks like a witch's cauldron, and you can go by and they dip you some.
Over
They
in-
used to.
over
I don't
in
know
your
if they still
neighborhood,
do
they
that.
do some pretty neat stuff. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen cotton candy machines. All kinds of stuff happens over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man, it's been pretty cool.
So Amy.
You gonna have to step up your game. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know if it's last year or year before last. Amy took the kids, and she's got a car that looks just like Maddie Hyde's.
Oh, okay.
And so, Maddie's kids get in my wife's car, and of course, my wife don't know who they are. She's like, "You're in the wrong car." And of course, Maddie's behind. She knew that my wife was in front of her. She's like, "Hey, you got in the wrong car."
Chad, that would be a good time to get your kids swapped around with a bunch of people. You know, we got the wrong kids.
There you go.
Exactly. So we've been talking to Chad about the Marines and stuff like that, and I just think it's the point was earlier that you're just not a Marine from day one. You have to earn the title of a Marine, and I've noticed that it's something that Marines don't play with. That title is something you don't play with or toy with or anything like that, and joke about.
Oh, we question people. You know, I've had people come in and say they were a Marine and ask them where'd you go to boot camp? If you don't know you went to Parris Island, you're not a Marine. You know?
Yeah, if you're east of Mississippi, you went to Parris Island, right? And if you're west of Mississippi, you went to Rikers Island. No, I'm kidding.
Rikers.
They go to Camp Pendleton, and the big brag is about the hills over there, because they do walk some pretty high hills. But they also go to a San Diego Padres game right after the Crucible, so we don't
Really?
do that.
So, but at Parris Island, you get steak dinner, right?
No, we don't get that. See, now, I don't know if they actually go to the games or not, but that's what we kind of,
Oh, okay.
that's what we go after each other about.
All right, so I was under the impression that once you got finished with the Crucible, that you ended up at this mess hall, and you could eat steak if you wanted to, and then most people threw up over the rail.
They may now. I don't know. When I was there, it wasn't like that. I do remember that we were starving the whole time. I mean, I probably lost 20 pounds. You're starving the whole time. The whole eating is if your napkins are wrong, or if your salt and pepper shaker's not in an exact spot, they'll stop you, and you only get like a few seconds to eat. So you have to learn to scarf it down real quick. Well, I was sorry. Excuse me, I ate a cough drop, and you told me he said that cough drop will make you cough.
Yeah,
that's what it's doing. Anyways, we gave blood one day, and I remember being starving, so I walked through and I got some cookies, and I'm like, man, those cookies were good. So I said, hey, can I borrow your glasses? I'm going to go through the line again. So they have these big, ugly glasses. They call them BCGs, birth control glasses, because you're never going to have a kid if you wear those. Because they're the big, old, ugly ones.
Yeah.
Anyways, I put on the BCGs, and I walked through the line. They gave me about 4 or 5 more cookies, and they thought I just gave blood again. So I ended up eating 27 cookies that day. We had a race to see who could eat the most cookies.
Oh, no. Did it end well?
Oh, I felt good. I mean, it's the first time I felt good in all of boot camp.
So talk to us about, for somebody that's been there, done that, what about the latrine? That's the one thing that I'm scared of.
This is a major concern of Keith's.
Yes.
Listen,
last week.
I don't use public toilets, and so I try not to use public toilets. There may be a time or two that I have, but if I can make it home, I try to make it home or make it to my office, one of the two.
I don't really want to get into the details of the toiletry, but you don't have time to go to the bathroom unless you wake up in the middle of the night. And so you got to train your body to go. That's why I think every military person I know goes to the bathroom the same time every morning. Like we try to.
They're like regimented then, right?
Yeah, because the drill instructors, if you're going, you get like 3 seconds. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, are you like carrying on conversation with other folks while you're?
No, you're
Listen,
not.
listen, Keith.
3 seconds. You ain't carrying on much of a
conversation. The dream of you being a Marine just got squashed.
Yeah, but that's just boot camp, though.
Okay, that's just boot camp.
That's just boot camp. Now, I remember going to the rifle range. I told you this.
Oh, no, hang on a second.
He ain't making it through boot camp.
I went to the rifle range, and the drill instructors, they talk like with that frog voice, and they're like, oh, you will fit. So there was 7 people in the porta-john, and we all had to pee because we didn't have much time. They were like counting you down, and they skipped every number. They're like 100, 59, 14, 13, 12, and you're like, you skipped like 70 numbers, But anyways, they try to hurry you up. Everything you do, they count you down. And I remember being in the porta-john, and there was like 6 or 7 people, probably 6, and then one more come in. And when he did, it bumped me, and I peed on somebody's leg.
Oh my God.
It was awful. But it wasn't my leg, so it wasn't.
There you go.
There
Friendly
you go.
fire is good.
Friendly fire.
Oh.
The worst story, though, is at the Quigley when we were in Quantico. We had to go through the Quigley, and that's where you got this long pipe that you have to crawl through backwards. It's underwater. You got to hold your breath and crawl through backwards. Well, it was
You got your rifle with you the whole time, though, right?
Yeah, you're holding your rifle right here at your chest, and you're kind of feeling backwards, trying to get to the end of that pipe, and it feels like it's forever. You know, you're never going to get there. And well, anyways, we went in January, and it was 100 or negative like 5 degrees, I think, and it froze over. And
Yeah.
when we got through with basic, we learned that place was frozen. They went out there the night before and they poured gasoline on it. There was all kinds of nasty stuff. They said, don't drink the Quigley water. That's what they kept saying. Well, when we graduated, they told us that
I can see why.
all the drill instructors went out there and they was burning fires around it trying to unthaw all that water.
Yeah.
And so we could go through the Quigley, because if not, we had to skip that, and we didn't get the full experience. So we ended up going through it. I remember going in there.
So
and
what does
my
that
body just
teach you?
shutting down.
What does that teach you? Don't stress out. I mean, that's got to be a
Discipline, don't
super
stress,
high
yeah.
stress situation. Underwater's my next. Other than going to the bathroom, underwater would be my next most scary thing.
And then going
being
to the
trapped
bathroom
underwater.
underwater is scary.
Yeah. Hey, there's probably no telling how many people have done that. Hey, while they're there, you know.
No, they said they were peeing on it, everything they could think of to try to
Keep it from freezing.
It's some nasty stuff, man. But I didn't die, so we're good.
So what was great? So when I went to watch graduation, it was a well orchestrated event. You can tell that they didn't just come out there that day. Do you practice graduation, and what's that like?
Well, we don't practice. Yeah, we do practice graduation, but from everything we do from the time we get there, I remember when I first got there, I used to sit right over left. They made me swap how I sit Indian style, because when you're sitting in the sitting position,
Now, what does that mean when you sit right over left? What does
you
that
know,
mean?
like when you're in Indian style.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when you're sitting with your legs crossed.
You're right over your left leg.
Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
if we can call it Indian style anymore. but-
Yeah, that's what I know. I know it's a crisscross applesauce. That's
yeah.
it.
So
That's the
anyway,
new.
Goodness gracious.
it was right over left. I swapped to left over right because that's where your elbow sits in the pocket when you're shooting. So they teach you everything is about combat and training you to get to that point. So we ended up, I remember sitting there, and a drill instructor come in, and he sat there and he said, look to your left. I mean, we just got there. I didn't know who he was, you know, and then look to your right. And he said, if you're not prepared at this moment, even without training, to die for the person to your left or right, you need to get up and get out of here, because you're not what we're looking for.
Did anybody leave?
No.
Good.
No, I think people know, especially in 2004.
Yeah.
We knew we were going to war. That was the whole purpose of what
Yeah.
we was doing, is trying to fight for our country. So
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? If you okay. What about your first deployment? You said that when you were training that everybody knew that, hey, this would be a wartime deployment and things like that. What do you do? Do you get your first assignment via mail, or did somebody walk in and say, "Here's your first assignment"? And
no, I mean, the colonel briefs us basically. The colonel come in and he'll talk to his officers first, so we get pulled together, and then we told the battalion, and we just kind of started training from there. You go to AP Hill, to where you learn artillery and different stuff, and we went to 29 Palms to acclimatate to the terrain, and went to Yuma. There's just a lot of training. I mean, you spend probably 4 months away from your spouse training.
I see. So you had to get acclimated to what the environment over there was going to be like. Okay.
Yeah, the heat is just so overwhelming. It's like you're in an oven. And I remember when I got back from combat, we flew into Cherry Point, and it was 78 degrees, and I about froze.
Yeah. Hey, that's so true, and I didn't understand that. My dad told me one time when he was in the military, he was in Puerto Rico, and he climbed towers. He was a communications guy, and he was a tower climber type person. And he said it was so hot during the day there that you would shiver at 80 at night.
Mm-hmm.
You would get the chills at 80 degrees at night. And I
Your
thought, wow,
body
that's-
gets used to stuff.
Yeah.
And I deer hunt a lot with Scott Womble. He's one of my good friends.
Yeah.
Scott's an ATT guy, and it'll be 20 degrees, and I don't have a shirt on, and he's got bibs. He's like, I'm sitting in the shoot house, and he's freezing,
Yeah.
and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, you just acclimatize, man. It's mind over matter.
It is.
If you don't mind, it don't matter.
I like that.
But he always makes fun of me about
Oh
it.
my goodness. So, so where were you deployed to?
So our deployment, we were on the Saddam's air base. It was Al Assad was where we were at regionally, and but we were on the Camp Ripper side, which was the infantry side, so we could leave in and out.
What country was that in?
Iraq.
Iraq. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so I went to Iraq. I never went to Afghanistan, but in Iraq, I just want to speak to the Marines and some of the people I was over there serving with. And
Yeah.
just what kind of caliber of people they are.
Absolutely.
I know I had an 18-year-old boy. I talk about him in my book, Mentor Made Millionaire, and his name's Lance Corporal Hunt, and he was one of the best people. He always got in trouble, but he was one of the best Marines. You know, you need him on your team, right?
Had a good heart.
Yeah, awesome guy. But we were over there, and there's just things that sometimes they see that's going on back home with his family and stuff. And I remember, I don't want to go into details, that's private to him, but I remember him coming to me, and I said, hey, you can sit out this convoy. We don't, if you need to. And he's like, no, sir, I'm going. He's like, y'all are my team. I'm going with y'all. And to see 18-year-olds make those decisions, I somewhat get hopped up a little bit when people talk about, the younger generation and how garbage they are, and that stuff crawls all over me, because anytime you generalize a whole group of people, you're wrong, because there's not all of them's like that.
That's right.
Now, there's people in my generation who are lazy. There's people in every generation.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But for the most part, the ones I was around and the ones I seen were, some of the best Americans I've ever been around in my life. And that's the part I miss about the military.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So how long was the first deployment, or your deployment in Iraq?
Our deployment was cut short because we were the last infantry battalion. So we actually got coins and different stuff, and got awards, different things for being the last. So for me, I was going through logistics school prior to that, and everyone said you do not want to be a logistician when the music stops and you don't have a chair. And guess what we were?
Yeah.
So I was the last infantry battalion into Iraq, and I was their logistics officer. So we had to retrograde, which in the military means essentially take all the gear that was there and move it back to Florida, basically.
Oh, so you had to tear down everything, and oh man, that's a job.
Well, and here's the challenges of it is, a lot of times something would get blown up, and the infantry guys would take a hood off of one truck and put it on another, and you have the numbers spray painted on the side, so your inventory gets completely messed up.
Right.
And for me, I'm a logistician, so we look at the data plate, and that's the only thing. Like you're into cars, it don't matter if something was sprayed on the side. That's right. Not the number. The true number is going to be on that data plate.
Right.
And anyways, I was in Iraq, and I flew to Al Taqaddum, which was right by Fallujah. And I flew in a helicopter there, and I remember just getting there, and the major pulls me to the side and said, hey, man, everybody here has been delayed 30 days. You need to make friends with this lady that's over it. She was a civilian contractor from Georgia. And I told Mark Rick this story at the FCA event 2 nights ago. But I got over there, and her whole office was kind of set up. It was just a small office, but it had Georgia everywhere. And, I'm a huge Vols fan, so I thought, this is going to be good.
Yeah, you're not going to make friends with her. Oh, no, I'm kidding.
No, but I know enough about SEC football that I walked in and I said, hey, do you know Sean? And she said, no, Sean who? And I said, no, Sean Marino. She goes, oh, and she blew up, and we started hanging out. I got a Navy Achievement Medal because I was the first one to get all of our stuff through there. But what it ended up looking like, and that people didn't understand is I was like, hey, look, this data plate says this, but the truck says this, and we're kind of messed up on the inventory. She's like, oh, baby, just push it through. Just go ahead, and it's good. I'll sign off on it. So I made friends with her.
Yeah.
And it shows about relationships.
Absolutely.
If you can build them, you're going to do amazing things.
Yeah.
And so we got through there, and I remember getting back to States, and they gave me a Navy Achievement Medal. No, that was a Navy Com. That was a step up. They gave me a Navy Com for what I did over there. And
yeah.
I remember my captain, he was from Wyoming. His name was Randy White, one of the best dudes, very smart. I learned a lot from him. He said, I don't know how in the world Chad did this. So he said, I started following him to see what he's doing. He said, all he does is slap on a SEC football hat, and he's friends with everybody. Being from Wyoming, they didn't know. They don't have that kind of connection,
Right.
Like, yeah, do I hate Alabama? Absolutely. The 3rd October of every month. But, like Big Fred, I told him, I can't cut my hair this week because you're an Alabama fan, but come next week, I'll do it. We're still buddies, but there's a rivalry there.
Yeah, Fred
That's
hit
right.
you you told me Fred hit his
That's what
Tennessee
makes it
whiskey
fun.
that week.
Yeah, he put his. That's what started it. Big Fred started putting his Tennessee whiskey in a drawer to hide it for Tennessee Hate Week. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm not cutting my hair there, so I'm finding a Vols fan. And got a little bit of laughs on Facebook. So.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So it's an eye opener to know that there's actually civilian contractors there, and so they're doing things like logistics and probably most of the weaponry is developed by civilian contractors. And so, are they over there supporting the military also?
We had convoys that we were protecting civilian contractors.
I see.
There's a lot of people that will never get credit, and that's what I told her to help us build. I didn't tell our whole relationship, but I let her know. I said, look, she's probably 50-year-old. Really, really good person. But I told her, I said, when we go home, everyone's going to thank me. I said, unfortunately, they're not even going to know to thank you. And I said, I just want to let you know from the bottom of my heart, thank you for what you've done for
Absolutely.
us. Because they could get rocketed at any moment, just like us.
Sure.
Just because they're civilian. That's what I said in Kentucky when I moved up there. They'd always say, you're not from around here. So I hate when people say that because, when you're in combat, they don't say, wait a minute, are you from Lawrenceburg, Tennessee? Or, okay, I can shoot you. Or,
Right.
they don't do that. There's no discrimination there. It's just if you're American, they want to kill you.
Right.
And to me, that's why I always try to be good to people. And I see the shirts that say, when people move in from California, they're like, don't California my Tennessee. And I get that, but most of them moving over here are like-minded like us, and they're just trying to build in an area and raise their kids in an area with our values. So
Right.
I can attest to that. He's absolutely right about that.
Yeah. It's not just California. It's a lot of places like that.
they'll move to Nashville if they're, liberal leaning or socialist or whatever. Whatever we want to call it.
Exactly.
Trying to figure out, I'm not on the radio for a reason. So.
No, that's fine. But
Luckily, I got a good wife, so most of what I post, she's like, "You need to delete that."
She's
You
your
sound
editor,
crazy.
Oh, me. No, that's you talk about those folks, and there's a lot of civilians that are involved over there, and did you only had one deployment, or you have multiple?
I just had one.
Okay,
yeah.
but
So
you were in
when
for
I
10
went-
years. Where did you serve after that? Several
So I
different places.
come over 3 years to recruiting station Nashville, and that's where I ended my service.
I see.
When I was, I did 2.5 years, almost 3 years as the OPSO, which is operations officer. So I was in charge of the numbers for recruiting duty. So I'd sit at a desk, and every 10-minute increments, these recruiters would call me. The staff NCOICs would call me from across the state of Tennessee and give me their numbers, what they did the day before, and I analyzed all that data, and I would tell them, y'all sounds like y'all got a closing issue, or sounds like y'all got, it was basically sales. And anyways, I did that. Is that a?
Well, I don't know if this may be a call for him or not. We'll see.
Okay, we'll see.
All right.
Okay. Hey,
Great,
good,
folks.
hey, good morning. You calling WDXE?
Yeah.
Okay.
What you need, hon?
Oh, I was just going to tell you, I've got a son that's in the military. He's been in there since 1988,
Wow.
and he's a
man.
command sergeant major. So, and he
that's as high as
loves
you can
it.
go.
He's got about 5 more years, and he's going to retire.
That's right.
So, yeah.
All right, so
And he was in Iraq. He might have been there at the same time one of y'all was there.
could have
That's
been.
awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
But anyway, I just go
What's his name? What's his name?
say that I enjoy listening to you talk about it.
Hey, tell they want to know his name, Miss Sarah.
Yeah, okay.
Hey,
Say,
hey, wait a minute. Tell us his name.
Tracy,
Tracy.
Tracy McDowell.
Tracy McDowell.
Yeah.
I know Tracy, but yes.
Yeah,
Miss
yeah, I
Sarah said that.
figured y'all would know him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it Tracy McDowell? I graduated
Yeah.
with
Tracy
Tracy
McDowell.
McDowell.
that's who it is. And he's been in there. He joined up with the Army when he was a senior in high school in '88. Come out and was in the full-time Army for 3 years. He spent 3 months at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Then he went to Alaska and stayed up there the rest of his 3 years.
Yeah.
And now he's in the National Guard at Nashville.
Well, I know
Okay.
you're proud of him, Miss Sarah.
Oh, I am.
Wow.
I'm really proud of him. So thank you so much.
Thank you
bless
for
you.
calling, Miss Sarah.
Bye.
That's made my day right there. Fort Sill,
awesome.
Oklahoma. Command Sergeant Major is there a higher enlisted position or
No, that's it.
That's it. He's
Now,
at the top
as
of
a sergeant major, you can do command, and then you can get up to where you're, sergeant major of the Marine Corps. For us, they have a sergeant major. There's different division levels. So you go battalion sergeant major, and then you go division sergeant major, and then brigade or whatever.
Yeah.
If it's artillery, I mean, it goes all the way up to, to where you can be. There's only one sergeant major of the Marine Corps. So.
Right. So, when I worked at the Pentagon, out of courtesy, I was a contractor there also, and out of courtesy, we learned the ranks. I worked for the Department of the Army, and we learned their ranks, and we would call people by their rank. There was a lot of colonels. To see full bird colonels was an everyday event, but 1-star, 2-star generals were just walking all over. And let me tell you, the secretaries wore their brass, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So if you had a 3-star, I worked for a 3-star general, Cinciolo, and if his secretary wanted something, you got it done because he was the next call, so you didn't want that to take place. But man, we could talk about that, but we haven't talked about some of the things that you're involved in here in the community.
I'm ready to hear about this Waffle House.
Yeah. So, what I was saying earlier about that is that people think it's the job of the mayor or those who are elected to get these types of eateries in here or whatever, and it's not. It's on the back of those who have who are entrepreneurial minded and want to do that, and because if you open up a Waffle House, you got to work there, and stuff like that. So, but you have been in business in our community for quite some time now, and so. And you have more recently, you purchased the pool hall a couple years ago, maybe, or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I went to that pool hall as a kid. Right next door to it, when I was growing up, was J&H Furniture, and it was sort of a division of Jones Home Furnishings, but it was J&H Furniture, and Bill Allen run the place. So if you know Judge Allen, his daddy, Bill, ran that place, and so I was good friends with Bill. I mowed their yard and things like that, chopped wood, whatever it took, and so I worked at the furniture store, and we would always go next door to the pool hall. And they at the time they had hot dogs that they had the kind that if you put it on the bun, you get your bun red, which is the good kind, that's the way we like it. But just so you know, I know where the original hot dog steamer from the pool room is. We've got it at Heritage.
Do you really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and we use that every once in a while. Really? We'll have hot dogs in that.
Where specifically do y'all hide that?
It's a hidden compartment.
I got friends in low places.
Well, when we use it, we usually bring it out to the showroom and cook hot dogs. But I think it's in the kitchen now. But
Kevin just sets his hot dog on a warm engine.
That's right.
That's exactly right.
Warm it right up.
Or if he opens it up and there's one there, he'll take it.
That's right.
So, but what was it like when you bought the old pool hall? What shape is in it? I haven't been in the pool hall probably in 10 years, but last time I went in there, it was in disrepair.
Well, you got to think back where we was at. It was the time of COVID. A lot of people had shut down. A lot of businesses weren't moving, unfortunately, and it hurt a lot of business people. So what you said is 100% true. Like the government's not going to be there to help you and hold your hand when that's your investment.
Yeah.
So
and let me inject into that for just a second. The reason it doesn't is because it's private property. You can't spend public money on private means.
Exactly.
So
and you shouldn't.
There's a line there.
100%
Right.
for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm very liberty minded when it comes to that. So,
yeah.
I don't want that, and for us. But my best friend growing up was David Rigsby. His dad and mom done incredible with that place. And when COVID happened, it kind of shut down, plus Mark passed away. And that's why when you go in there, I had that banner of Mark in memory of Mark because that family meant so much to me.
Right.
Well, we had just bought the old hotel. I think we missed that step. So we just bought
the
old hotel.
We did. Yeah, you're right.
And I was working up in the hotel. I work for the state, so I work in my office there. And I remember calling Cindy and I said, hey, are you planning on opening? Because I was looking for a place that I could just walk down. I was eating at Debo's a lot. And,
right.
I was looking for a spot I could just get, some quick food. And then we talked about it, and I ended up purchasing that. And then when it got big, I bought the pawn shop. So I own Rebel Pawn.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought Rebel Pawn, and I changed it to Depot Street Pawn. Ended up opening up the wall just like Jason did at Society, and that we opened the wall up so we had more space, and I moved the pool tables over on the other side. But my whole premise was Depot Street Break Room. I'd traveled around enough in this country to know that what I wanted, and I wanted a spot where people could have a rough week and come in there and just relax.
Right.
We didn't want any drama. We didn't want anything. We just wanted people to come in and hang out. Some younger generation. I guess my target was 21 to 45, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, somewhere in that range, to where they come in and enjoy it. And I watch people come in and say, my dad played pool here, my grandpa played pool here, and they was real concerned about the floor, because if you look at the floor,
it's wore out.
It's wore out where people walked around in a circle of those pool tables. And I was going to pull the floor up, and it was, caused, I ask people before I do something, I try to survey people and get their opinion. And a lot of people was like, well, my grandpa walked here. When I get here, I kind of feel him again.
Oh, that's neat.
So to me, I just left it, and we just painted over it a little bit, but you can still see kind of the wear and tear of the.
So back when I used to go, there's no telling how many times the word rack has been yelled down there.
Exactly.
Because you couldn't rack you couldn't rack your own balls.
You had to call the rack guy.
What was his name? I can't remember his name. The guy that you holler rack and he'd come down there and rack your balls.
Yeah. It depends on what year, because there's been several of us there.
That sounds horrible. But that was.
But
10 cents. We played six. We played 6 ball because it was a dime. 8 ball was a quarter.
Peel pool.
Yeah, we didn't do peel. I didn't really understand that. So.
Too complicated.
It's too complicated. It's one too many steps.
We still have all that stuff in there.
Really?
Yeah, it's all there. And,
so. Do y'all still rack them for folks, or do they do their own?
No, it's 50-cent pool now. They just put their money in.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Rack their own balls.
Yeah. Okay. So there's
well, you have to do that if you're going to play pool.
That's exactly right. So I think there's a law on the books that you can't play pool on Sunday, right?
Is there?
Yeah. Have you been doing it?
Yeah.
He'll tell on you.
Yeah,
now.
we need to look that up.
I think
the city of Lawrenceburg has a no pool.
Prove that I play
well, it's
pool
not
on
pool on Sunday. It's billiards.
There you go.
Oh, that's right. That was the term we use on Sunday. It's billiards.
It's billiards.
No, we don't play billiards. We play pool. No, it's funny because Blake Lay will tell a story too about when they went in there they was playing high school, and they'd come in there and. It was smoky back then.
Yeah.
And you'd have to get underneath the light to kind of see to where you could see your balls. It was so smoky.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a. That was a different generation. We used to go to my grandmother's house, and it was like you opened it up, and it was like you're at a concert. The fog rolled out.
Oh yeah.
We rolled in and ate dinner.
That's how those hot dogs got that smoky flavor.
That's right.
Exactly.
Marlboro.
Oh my goodness.
That's a good taste. Huh?
Oh my goodness. And we paid it no attention, but nowadays I can tell since I can tell the second. If
you're not around it all the time.
But it's not like that anymore, is it, my friend?
No, and we've cleaned it up. And one thing I want to say is Mike Stetter come over, and he's running it now, and so we loaned it, or we got a lease there for him to come in. What I love about Mike is just his business acumen. He's cleaned it up big time. He's painted it Florida Gator colors. I've been giving him.
Oh no!
He's like, no, this is Tennessee orange. Though. But the girls picked out the color, but it looks awesome. He's got couches in there now.
Yeah.
He's got what's that game where you roll that you slide that
I know what you're talking about.
Or
yeah.
He's got a shuffleboard table. Is that what it is?
I guess it's got the heavy thing you put. You salt it
Sure.
down and.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff.
okay.
I didn't knock you. We're almost out of time.
That's right.
No, but Mike has come in and cleaned it up, and I'm just go out and look at it. Just stop by and see what he's done with it. And
well, listen, today's been a good day. I've learned a lot of things today.
Oh man,
Jeff.
yeah.
And we always get to this point and we never talk about Heritage Automotive.
Hey, let me give a shout out to the David Crockett School. Trunk or treat is tonight. So
it is.
We got hot dogs and all kinds of food vendors going to be there.
Candy.
Plus, free candy. And Heritage donated candy. So
there
they
you
said
go.
thank y'all for that.
Good deal.
Trunk or treat. Do you have to dress up to come?
Nah.
How?
can wear your lurch
Is there an
costume.
age limit?
As far as I know, I don't know. You come by hot and get a chili dog.
I'll
Beta
do
Club's
that.
going to be selling hot dogs and chili
I
dogs.
Ooh, that
love
sounds
chili
good.
dogs.
Come
My
on.
daughter's in the Beta Club over there.
Right.
Yep. Chad, thank you for being here with us today. We're on a very short line right here, but thanks for being here. We'll have you back because we didn't get finished with the conversation with you. Listen, you guys have a good Halloween. Come see us at Heritage Automotive, 2122 North Locust Avenue, right here in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. Call us at 762-2299 or see us on the web at heritagegm.com.
He got to talking fast.
He even got the website in there today.
He had a little more time than he thought.
The clock says 9 o'clock.
It's close. It's close. Have a great day, everybody.
See y'all.
They still haven't
Thank you.
found
That
the
was fun.
suspected mass shooter in Maine. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Everybody's main concern is, keep the community safe.
Ryan McGee is the police chief in